In 1969, this guy sold his company for the equivalent of $4.5 billion today. 17 years later, he presided over the largest bankruptcy in U.S. history. But in between all that, he quietly made globalization possible. His name, Malcom McLean, and his entire career was one massive, repeated, all-in bet. You see, McLean didn't start out in shipping. He actually started out as a truck driver during the Great Depression. Every time he dropped off truckloads at the docks, he watched dock workers unload trucks box by box. And that's when he realized the problem wasn't trucks and ships, but actually the handoff between them. But in order to fix that problem, it would require everything that he had, literally. In 1955, McLean sold his trucking company, walking away with $6 million. He immediately leveraged that $6 million to get $42 million worth of debt, which he used to buy a failing steamship company. And that gamble became the company Sealand, which completely changed the world by creating what we know today as the standard shipping container. The standardized shipping container crushed shipping costs, and in turn sped up transfers from trucks to docks at ports all across the world, resulting in global supply chain efficiency and turning Sealand into a behemoth. In 1969, they sold for $530 million. And McLean, he personally walked away with $160 million in cash. Now, while most people would have stopped there, McLean did not. In 1978, he saw what he thought was the next big opportunity, and that's when he decided to buy United States Lines for $150 million, which candidly probably would have made him a billionaire. But there was one fatal flaw in his bet. He was banking on the fact that fuel prices would stay elevated. And the fuel-efficient ships that United Lines was creating was going to offset that high fuel cost. But oil prices collapsed. And in 1986, his company filed for bankruptcy with $1.3 billion in debt, which at the time was the largest in U.S. history. And here's the lesson that we can learn as operators and entrepreneurs. McLean didn't win because his bet worked every single time. He won because he decided to redesign the system. And that is a crucial part of being a successful entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship requires risk, but not reckless risk. The goal is to make a bet big enough to move the needle, but small enough so that failure doesn't end the game. And you can't build anything meaningful without betting on yourself. But the most important thing to remember is time in the game matters. And the best operators survive long enough to make more than one bet. So we can't deny that McLean changed the world because he was willing to take a massive bet. But we also have to recognize that that knife cuts both ways. And he ultimately paid the price because that one bet was just too big. And that is the balance that every entrepreneur has to learn.